Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. I'm, of course, the Battle Room. And today we're going to break down the team that I used to get third place at the Seattle Regional Championships. So to understand my thought process and my ultimate decision making to end up where we ended up, I think we have to travel back in time a bit. And we have to travel pretty far back. We got to go almost a year ago. So at the 2025 Milwaukee Regional Championships, which again is Regulation I used a team that was built around Ursaluna. Ursaluna has been a Pokemon that has caused me constant pain and anguish. I've failed time and time again with Ursaluna. I thought I was genuinely just cursed. Like, I didn't understand the Pokemon. I didn't understand how to get it in burned or how to play it effectively. And I just thought, hey, I'm just ass with this Pokemon and I just shouldn't use it. And I actually put a ban on myself for a very long time of just refusing to attend a tournament with Ursaluna. And this was the first tournament that I brought Ursaluna to that I was actually able to get day 2. I hadn't even made day 2 with Ursaluna. I'd used it about 4 times prior, but this was the tournament that finally broke that curse for me. And I think the tournament that actually really defined my season this year, even though this happened last year. And obviously Ursaluna ended up being a huge part of Regulation I, and I was just kind of ahead of the train there, and I ended up doing really well with this team. I ended up getting top 16. Not only did I get day 2 with Ursaluna, this was the first time I ever top cut with Ursaluna. And honestly, at this point, I really like this Pokemon, but I didn't really have an opportunity to use it for a while, just the way Regulation I played out. I tested it a lot, but I didn't bring it to another in-life tournament until Milwaukee 2026. Now at Milwaukee 2026, this is the tournament where I started using the Kilowattrel Ursaluna team. So this was the team that I felt I was ahead of the game on. I started using it at Milwaukee, and I instantly fell in love with it. It kind of had similar vibes to the way the Koraidon team actually functioned. Kilowattrel is really cool with Ursaluna because it really deters Intimidate, and that's one of the best ways to deal with Ursaluna. And at this point, I felt very confident in my ability to play Ursaluna. I spent a lot of time laddering with Alex, and he would show me unique ways to get Ursaluna in, or to always just be thinking with the Ursaluna mindset, which is like, how can I get this Pokemon in burned, right? Because that's really all that matters. Sometimes it involves leading it. Sometimes it involves just the classic U-turn into Ursaluna so it gets to come in and get burned. There's a lot of situations that can come up. Sometimes it's switching it in on a Pokemon that they don't expect you to switch it in on, right? Like, obviously, if you have Incineroar out, the U-turn's pretty obvious, but sometimes you switch it in on the Porygon instead, and then you turn back into your Porygon, and now you're chilling. So there was a lot of opportunities and a lot of ways I had to change my brain and think about Ursaluna to become a consistent and good Ursaluna player. Because again, I think the puzzle, I think Ursaluna is so much fun. I could make a whole video just talking about Ursaluna and how cool it is to play in competitive Pokemon, because I don't think there's anything really like it, because it relies completely on its ability to get burned and to come in and to deal damage. But ultimately, for the Las Vegas Regional Championships, I decided to come back and run it directly back with the same team I used at Milwaukee. And when I went into this tournament, I had one goal: to be the best Kilowattrel Ursaluna player in the tournament. That was what I set out to do, and that's what I wanted to achieve. Ultimately, I ended up getting top 16. I did make top cut of this tournament. I unfortunately lost to Carson St. Dennis in a banger 3-game set. Carson is an incredible player, but I felt like I didn't accomplish my goal, because ultimately, the team that won the tournament was my team. The same 6 Pokemon that I brought to the tournament won the tournament. And so it felt really bittersweet, because obviously I achieved top cut, which was something I felt like I could have done at Milwaukee if things went my way a little bit better. And then at Las Vegas, I achieved that cut, but I didn't achieve my goal of being the best Ursaluna player, the best Ursaluna Kilowattrel player at that tournament. And so that tournament did leave me with quite a sour taste in my mouth. Like, I ended up taking a 2-month break just because I didn't have any tournaments. And the next tournament that was going to show up was going to be EUIC. Now, EUIC was going to be a completely different format to Regulation H, but I knew I wanted to try and maintain as much comfort as possible. After watching Gio win the World Championships, purely playing off of his comfort team, I kind of felt like comfort was the new way to play the game in the most efficient way, right? Like, if you spend a ton of time playing the same team over and over, you're going to get good results as long as, you know, the meta doesn't aggressively shift against you. So I knew I wanted to pick something that the meta wouldn't aggressively shift against, and also find some comfort. So naturally, the first place I looked in Regulation H when we returned to Regulation F was, of course, Ursaluna. Ursaluna has been my rock the entire season. I've used it to get all my points, and I didn't really want to stop using it. I had so much fun playing the mini game of burning Ursaluna that I was like, you know what? It's time to run Ursaluna back. And the first team I tested was actually Nil's team. The team that won the last international in Regulation F, of course, was Ursaluna. But when I started using it, I honestly really hated it. It felt really dated. It felt not good. It didn't feel like the aggression in the offense that I had in the prior team. So I naturally did some shopping around, looking around, and in one of the Victory Road tournaments, in the December Victory Road Challenge, there was this team. And from the minute I laid eyes on it, I said, this could be the one. So I picked it up. It was actually from a Japanese player by the name of Yuto Kimura. And once I started using his team, I did fall in love with it right away. I actually was so confident that I ended up registering on the second wave of registration for Toronto to try and play in this tournament because I thought this was the call for the tournament. And if I get to go to this tournament, I think I genuinely could win. But ultimately, my plans fell through. I decided it wouldn't really be best for me to attend this tournament, so I opted to just sit and wait for UIC and hope that my hidden gem of a team would remain a hidden gem. Because at this point, this team wasn't very popular. It had only went 9-3 in the tournament, missing cut. So I was like, maybe, you know what? Maybe they don't know. But unfortunately, they did know. And this team was actually posted on Twitter, shared to everyone with spreads, and it instantly began populating the ladder, and it became quite a popular team. And so I didn't know how to feel about that. I didn't know how to feel about my gem of a team. And I ended up watching the Toronto Regional Championships. You know, I was trying to look for some inspiration, check out some other Ursaluna teams. And at Toronto, the only successful Ursaluna team was a Cresselia team. And I just kind of think Cresselia is mid. I used to be a giant Cresselia lover and defender. I would use it any chance I got. But as time has went on, Cresselia has gotten weaker. I have gotten much better as a player, but unfortunately Cresselia has gotten much worse as a Pokemon. So picking Cresselia just kind of felt like a bad idea. But you know what? I said I want to be fair, and I kind of want to test this team out. And so I started playing. I actually owe a huge shout out to Michael Derbesti for posting a recreation of this team because I'm pretty lazy and I just grabbed the recreation, and I don't know if I would have picked this team had he not made that recreation, but I started laddering with it. And instantly I started finding a lot of success. The team was feeling very, very good. I learned the ins and outs, the intricacies of the team, and it just kind of started feeling incredible. Obviously, it didn't really fit my expectations of what I was looking for because I did want something that was more aggressive, that would fill the void of Kilowattrel, but that's just not really here in this format. I thought Tornadus would do that, but it just really didn't. And then Cresselia just started to really click with me. There's a lot of matchups where Cresselia is very, very potent and very, very good. And I think I had to spend a lot of time really learning how to use the other Pokemon besides Cresselia and Ursaluna, because obviously Cresselia and Ursaluna, it's not too crazy to see how strong they are, but getting good at using Fluttermane again, Incineroar, Amoonguss, or Shifu, that was something I did have to adjust to and have to learn. But Fluttermane kind of filled that role that Kilowattrel did, right? It's this really strong Pokemon that outputs a ton of damage that if they lead their answers to Ursaluna, Fluttermane can kind of punish that in a way. So I really, really enjoyed Fluttermane. Urshifu is Urshifu. He's the best Pokemon in the game for a reason. And then Incineroar and Amoonguss have been there since day one. So as time went on, a lot of my friends actually told me to get off the team. They were like, hey, we think the Tornadus version is way better. The one you were using a month ago seems better for EUIC. It seems very well positioned and it seems very good. And we think you should use it. And I was like, I don't know. Because the Cresselia team is clicking with me. And I never am one to go against my gut. When I feel something in my soul, I lock in. And I pick that team and I use that team every single time. So going into EUIC, I decided that this was the team I was going to bring. And ultimately, EUIC didn't go my way. At UIC, I ended up playing against a Screens Earthworm team that was really, really difficult to beat. And then I played against a Corviknight Tingdozo team, both of which I lost to. And then unfortunately in the last round, I did make it to the win-in, but then I played against Lele. He's an incredibly talented balance player. And I do think my balance matchup is very good, but at the end of the day, he played better than me and he kind of swagged on me. And I ultimately fell short and I didn't achieve the result I wanted at UIC. And the team that did really, really well was the Tornadus team. It tore up the cut. It was all over day 2. It was definitely the play for this tournament. So I was beating myself up a bit because I was really frustrated because I felt like it wasn't the team's fault. And I didn't feel like it was necessarily my fault either. I think I played a little bit poorly in my losses, especially against Lele, but I felt like the team didn't let me down. I just pulled some bullshit. Like playing against Corviknight sucked. Playing against Earthworm with Screen sucked. And it was just two kind of Pokemon that I hadn't actually played against in practice that really just set me back. So I got scared though. I admittedly did swap off the team instantly. I started trying to learn the Tornadus team because there were 2 weeks between UIC and Seattle. So I started spamming the Tornadus team as much as I could, but it just wasn't that good into balance. I felt like the balance matchup wasn't what I wanted it to be. And I tried a bunch of different things. I tried to put Fluttermane on the Tornadus team. I tried to replace P2 with Flutter. I tried everything. I tried learning the matchup. I considered paying for Patreons to try and learn this balanced matchup, but everything I did when I would practice the matchup over and over again with my friends, I just wouldn't win. So ultimately, I came to the tough conclusion to run it back. I felt like potentially I was making a huge mistake running it back, because if I'm wrong and it was the team's fault, right? Like if there are matchups that just aren't as doable and I should just run something more standard, something more honest, then maybe I should do that instead of running it with this semi-outdated team. It obviously did really, really well at Toronto, but not a lot of good players were picking it up, and it wasn't winning tournaments. It wasn't top cutting. It was barely making day 2. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to trust in myself, and I'm going to trust in this team that has been with me since basically day 1 of the format. From when I started practicing, I felt that I needed to run this team, and I wanted to run it back. Now, going into Seattle, I did think I was potentially making a huge mistake, but there was a lot of reasons that I did come back to this team over the Tornadus version. There were 3 specific matchups that I started practicing against that Tornadus sucked into. Number 1 is Chien-Pao Dragonite. I think Chien-Pao Dragonite wasn't going to be very popular at the tournament, but I expected to play 1 or 2, and I felt like Tornadus was a straight up auto loss into it. I didn't have a Fluttermane, I didn't have a Ghost type, and it felt very, very difficult to navigate those. But with the Cresselia team, I had a Ghost type, but I also had a Terra Steel Cresselia, which I think can pull a lot of leverage into this matchup, specifically helping set up Trick Room, and also just to slow things down so that Fluttermane or Shifu can start sweeping. So that was one of the matchups. Another big matchup that came out of UIC is, of course, Psyspam. Iron Crown and DD got very, very popular at UIC, but specifically the Calm Mind version. Now, if they are the regular Terra Blast Water version, Cresselia is still very solid into them, and I think with Icy Wind and the speed control of the threat of Trick Room, Cresselia can perform very, very well against the Terra Blast Water versions, but if they're the Calm Mind version, Cresselia and Incineroar just go absolutely crazy mode versus them. So that was another huge reason that I wanted to use Cresselia. And the final reason was Hard Trick Room. I think that the Tornadus version of the team just auto loses to Hard Trick Room, which is something that I'm pretty usually okay with going into a tournament. Usually I don't care if I auto lose Hard Trick Room. I usually end up outplaying them anyways. But this time around I was like, it's a West Coast regional. Brian Collins will be there. Also, even if I don't play Brian Collins, his team is quite popular. So I was like, I do want to have a plan versus it. And when I started running sets with the Tornadus version, it just felt kind of unwinnable. But with Cresselia, it became winnable again. Obviously, it's still 50-50s and it's still annoying bullshit. But Cresselia gave me a chance, which is what I wanted. So ultimately, all of these reasons led me back to this team. So let's break down the team. So first things first, I gotta give a huge shout out to Aaron Brock and NJ11 for creating this team. I based a lot of what I've learned on their team. They originally ran the 6. I didn't make any changes outside of making my own spreads, but I do think my spreads did elevate the team quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, I think my spreads are a little better, but I do have to give a huge shout out for them doing so well at Toronto, inspiring me to run this, because yeah, without them I wouldn't be running this team. So let's talk about Cresselia, because Cresselia is the first Pokemon on the team and kind of the backbone. It just kind of does everything it needs to do for the team. So the moveset is pretty simple. We have Safety Goggles. We don't want to go to sleep. Levitate, I don't have a choice there. And then for the moveset, we have Psychic, Icy Wind, Lunar Blessing, and Trick Room. Psychic is obviously our strong stab move. That's just our damage move. I think it's really important in this format to hit her Shifu, and Psychic, it does do more damage than Moonblast because it's stab, so Psychic. Icy Wind is actually the best move on Cresselia. This is the reason I loved Cresselia in this tournament, in this format. Icy Wind is incredible. Now, you're probably wondering, you're like, hey, Colin, Icy Wind Fluttermane, that makes sense. It's very fast. Even hell, Icy Wind Champo, it's fast. I can abuse the speed instantly. But Cresselia doesn't really get to do that. But the thing is the Icy Wind is actually just what makes her so good. She's very hard to remove from the board. It just sits there forever and it spams Icy Wind. So it sets up a lot of situations where it needs to get 2 Icy Winds. And that's okay, because Cresselia is so bulky. Obviously, Chimpao, sometimes he gets only 1, and then he dies to Surging Strikes. Cresselia will not be dying to basically anything. So, I usually can get 2 Icy Winds off. And so, what Cresselia is able to do with its speed, let's make this level 50. So what Cresselia is able to do with its speed is it's actually able to slow down everything up until Ogerpon, and then if it does Icy Wind once, they're at -1, now Cresselia outspeeds. And then if it Icy Winds again, now Ursaluna is able to outspeed everything. So it's this really incredible combo that a lot of people, when they see the Cresselia Ursaluna, they're like, I got you, brother, you're pressing Trick Room. I'm actually not. And that's what makes Cresselia so good, is that it's so bait to press Trick Room, and I just never do it. And that's what made me so successful, I think, with Cresselia, is that it is secretly a 2012 Icy Wind bot, and not secretly a 2012 Trick Room bot, if you know what I'm saying. And then Lunar Blessing is awesome because it heals you. That's all it really does. It's pretty good into Amoonguss, but also not really, because Amoonguss can be a pain in the ass, especially paired with knockoff, right? Whether it's Roaring Moon, usually it's Incineroar, and so Cresselia is actually pretty dicey into Amoonguss, and you have to play very, very carefully, but that's okay. And then Trick Room is awesome because it's Trick Room. It's my favorite move in the entire game, and it's the reason I play. It literally is why I'm named the Battle Room. Trick Room is awesome, but it's really just mainly used, funnily enough, on this team, I didn't press it a lot. It's mostly just used to counter stuff like Tailwind or very, very aggressive teams. Sometimes it's not too bad to just press it, though. The spread is pretty simple. It survives 2 Mystic Water Surging Strikes, and then we just dump the rest into Special Attack and Special Defense. The speed is really important, as I mentioned earlier. It's able to outspeed Ogerpon at -1, which allows it to Icy Wind it again, so Ursaluna can now outspeed Ogerpon at -2. So it's a really important speed, and I think the speed is really important on Cresselia. Did I mention that it's important? Because it's very important. And so the speed is everything here. It also, funnily enough, like in the tournament, just outspeeds random shit. Like, another really cool, important thing to note is that if Cresselia can outspeed it, that means Ursaluna can outspeed it after another Icy Wind. So it helps me a lot with speeds, and I think a lot of players weren't necessarily expecting it to be as fast as it was. Sometimes I've outsped Golden Goes, I've outsped an Iron Crown, like, I just outsped crazy shit with this guy. And Cresselia, the speed was perfect. The spread, I wish it could do more damage, but Cresselia doesn't deal damage, and so we just made it as bulky as possible. Shoutouts to Rago for helping me with this spread. Next up is my favorite Pokemon ever, Amoonguss. Amoonguss has become so special to me. Short story. I promise it'll be short, guys. Amoonguss was a Pokemon that I really struggled to use. I used it in 2013, bombed a regional with it, and then I didn't use it for 10 years. Genuinely for 10 years, and I honestly think it's one of my biggest regrets in my entire life is not learning how to play Amoonguss sooner. This Pokemon is so strong, and I just love the little mushroom. I love putting people to sleep. I think he's very good into newer players. I think he's a noob stompmon just because they don't necessarily have a lot of prep or safety goggles or ways to deal with Spore, so a well-played Amoonguss can beat someone who's not as prepared into him. Now, for the item, I felt like it was non-negotiable. Rocky Helmet is my item. I love Rocky Helmet. I think the value it provides against Urshifu is incredible. Just the threat of Rocky Helmet switching in completely warps matchups. There was a lot of times I tested other items or I tested other teams with Amoonguss, and when I didn't have Rocky Helmet, I was pissed off because Rocky Helmet alone just stops the Surging Strike spam. It makes them think twice every single turn. And I think that's really, really powerful in a format where Urshifu is the best Pokemon in the game. So I'm personally refuse to budge on Rocky Helmet. I think it's incredible. Obviously, boys, we got Regenerator. He's sticking around. He's staying healthy. And then we just went with Sludge Bomb, Spore, Rage Powder, Protect. I think this is a pretty normal Amoonguss set. I think it's the best one. Sludge Bomb is incredible. It gives you poison coverage in a format where it's really, really valuable. There's a lot of grass types to hit. Amoonguss can actually turn into kind of a sweeper in of himself. Spore, put him to sleep. Rage Powder, protect your boys, and protect him. Now for the spread. This is just defensive Amoonguss. I've always kind of been on defensive Amoonguss, but one thing to note that's kind of interesting, that did come up quite a bit. I'm so sorry for everyone else who has to play this format, but I think 12 speed Amoonguss is demon work, dude. It's so good. Every single time I played another Amoonguss, I outsped them. Which, now you're probably saying, like, Colin, why are you 12 speed Amoonguss, right? Like, if you're 12 speed Amoonguss, that means you don't underspeed Ursaluna and Iron Hands, so your Amoonguss is bad. Like, in Trick Room, they're going to sweep you. And you know what, dude? You're right, but I don't give a fuck. The thing is 12 speed Amoonguss is for the other Amoongusses. You know how valuable it is to Sludge Bomb before they potentially Pollen Puff, before they Spore your partner, before they, they're on 1 HP and you hit them with a bomb and they're gone? It's so useful. It comes up way more than you think. 12 was honestly demon time, and it paid off so much throughout the tournament. I outspeed every Amoonguss I played. It was actually really funny. Against Aura Rayquaza, I played him in day 2, and like I won 2 Sludge Bomb. I moved first, and he was like, what? Like, he genuinely was kind of like, man, this dude's winning the speed ties. But maybe we were actually speed tying, and he was like, no way he's faster than 12. Either way, though, 12 speed was incredible. I outsped every Amoonguss, and Amoonguss is the GOAT. So shout out to 12 speed Amoonguss. Otherwise, yeah, it's just really physically bulky. That's all it's for. I should talk about Terra Fire. Terra Fire is just really good because it's very good into Ogerpon Fire, and I think Ogerpon Fire can be kind of a problem for this team, but with Terra Fire Amoonguss, usually for the most part, you can kind of chill, you can Terra in front of him, and it's just very good in the balance matchup when they have Ogerpon Fire and Rillaboom. So that's mainly why I had Terra Fire. And Cresselia is Terra Steel because Terra Steel is awesome defensive Terra type. Next up is my GOAT, Ursaluna, my savior. My Ursaluna has just been incredible the entire season. The moveset is very simple. We've got Flame Orbs, we've got Guts, we've got Terra Ghost. I refuse to use any Terra that's not Terra Ghost because Terra Ghost is just so broken. It just allows you to dodge fake outs, and sometimes that's all you need. Then of course we have the goated moveset, Facade, Headlong Rush, Earthquake, and Protect. No notes. Facade is awesome with Guts. Headlong Rush does a ton of damage. It's like the best move in the game. Earthquake is the best move in the game. It used to be, but with Rillaboom existing, it sucks. But Ursaluna is like the only Pokemon that can pull it off because of Headlong Rush, and I just love Earthquake. I think that's why I love Ursaluna too, is I get to use Earthquake, and Earthquake makes me happy. And then we Protect. Now the spread, yeah, you're probably wondering, you're like, why the fuck is it max speed, right? And I spent a lot of time fiddling with Ursaluna speeds. This is something, I've been doing this for basically the whole season because I'm always trying to get the perfect speed because I always think there's like a perfect speed. So I'll start with the attack. The attack, we came to the conclusion that 204 is awesome, right? That's fucking sick. So naturally, Raghav and I were like, yeah, dude, that's the number. It's 204 twice. It's a sign. So I'm like, okay, I'm locking it in. It also technically does a little bit more damage. Like, basically, if you go 196, you do a little bit more damage if you go 204, right? Like, because some of these numbers, like 196 all the way to like 156, there's not too much of a change, right? But once you go to 204, there's like a little bit of a change. So it's whatever, dude. Honestly, at the end of the day, the reason I chose 204 is because it hits 204. So that's it. Enough with the 204. Now the speed. When we ran some calcs, like Ursaluna either lives a hit or it doesn't. So I kind of felt like the bulk wasn't super necessary on Ursaluna, and I found out there's some really awesome shit you can do with max speed Ursaluna. Like, obviously on Tailwind teams, I think max speed Ursaluna is very good. And when I was testing, I was testing the Tornadus team a bit with Icy Wind, and I thought it was very strong and very good. And I came to the conclusion that I was like, hey, Icy Wind plus max speed Ursaluna is good. It's strong. Why can't I run it on my Cresselia team, right? This was actually one of the only changes I made from UIC to Seattle, was I adjusted my Ursaluna speed. Because I was like, I actually think Icy Wind is really cool because if they're at -1, because it does come up a lot, right? Like, let's say they switch in Urshifu on an Icy Wind, right? Now I have to press Icy Wind again. And that sucks. That's lame. But what if Ursaluna's max speed? Then it outspeeds Urshifu, right? Because at -1, max speed Adamant Urshifu is slower than my Ursaluna. So I was like, holy fuck. Then I could set up a pin. I can press Psychic plus Earthquake or Psychic Headlong Rush, and there's nothing he can do. Well, Earthquake usually, but there's nothing he can do because he's pinned. And then I was like, wait a second. There's so many Pokemon that are slower than 150 speed, right? Because that's about where Ursaluna caps out. Honestly, I outspeed almost every Iron Crown at -1. Unless they're timid. If they're timid, you got me, dude, right? And after realizing that, I was like, I think max speed is the way to go. Because this Pokemon is so naturally bulky. Like, 130 base HP, 105 defense? We don't need bulk, dude. Like, what do you mean? We need no bulk. So I was like, you know what? Let's lock it in. Let's use it. And honestly, throughout the tournament, I think max speed came up a lot, and I think it was super valuable. Another important thing to note is, like, in the Ursaluna mirror, I think having the faster Ursaluna is really valuable, even if there is no speed control. Because, like, usually the Tornadus doesn't come, and if the Tornadus does come, it's whatever. But if the Tornadus doesn't come and there's two Ursalunas facing down, the faster Ursaluna is better. So I was like, you know what? Worst case, I get a speed tie. So I ran max speed Ursaluna. Next up, we've got Incineroar. I think Assault Vest is genuinely cheating. This Pokemon should not be able to hold this item. Like, it has Intimidate, and the Assault Vest boosted special defense. This Pokemon is so stupid. It's so dumb. I love this item. So I went with Assault Vest because I love Assault Vest. I never even thought about changing it because it's so good. The moveset's pretty normal. Flare Blitz, Knockoff, U-Turn, Fake Out. Obviously, I have to run all attacking moves. Flare Blitz, the big boy damage. Knockoff, let's remove some items. U-Turn, I really like U-Turn a lot, because I think also taunting Incineroar is lame and annoying. So being able to run U-Turn, I'm like, fuck your taunt, dude. I don't really care. So having U-Turn, I think, is pretty valuable. Fake Out, come on, baby. It's the best move in the game. The spread, funnily enough, I've been running this all season. I used this in Regulation H, and I used this in Regulation F. I never changed the spread. This is the same spread I use for every tournament. It's very, very good. The idea of the spread is simple. I want to deal damage, and I like being the faster Incineroar. Raghav told me a couple times, like, dude, I think you should slow him down. And I said, no, I'm not budging. 105 speed is lit. The main idea of 105 is it outspeeds, like, at the time it was really valuable because it outsped max speed Blood Moon Ursaluna, but that's not really a thing in this format. But I kind of felt like I wanted to be able to speed check for my Ursaluna, and I wanted him to be pretty fast. Like, they're pretty close in terms of speed. So if something outsped my Incineroar, I would kind of know that they'll outspeed my Ursaluna too, right? But the 105 also just, I outsped most Incineroars. I felt it was super good in the balance matchup because usually I don't bring Ursaluna and Cresselia in that matchup. So being the faster Incineroar was really valuable for my Urshifu and my Fluttermane. So I just locked in max speed. And I like, not max speed, but very fast Incineroar. I have 36 attack because that's a jump point, and he does a lot of damage with that. So we have that. Otherwise, it's just natural bulk. I don't really know. This is an even number. I've used this spread for 6 months, like I said. Or maybe longer, 8 months. Never disappointed me. It's awesome. It does the job. Again, it's probably a little too fast, but it's whatever. I like it. Next up is Urshifu. Urshifu is just so damn good. He is one of the best Pokemon on this team. He's the best Pokemon in the game. Mystic Water was a set I really, really loved. I love Mystic Water Terra Steel. It allows him... Oh, I forgot to mention. Terra Grass and Incineroar is cool because it allows you to not go to sleep. So that's the main reason, right? If you're AV, you're not safety goggles, so Terra Grass is good. Terra Steel is awesome because it makes him so hard to kill. Urshifu is so annoying, so hard to kill. Surging Strikes... Come on, dude. It crits 3 times. How can you not use it? Close Combat? It's okay. It's honestly really okay. Aqua Jet, priority's lit. It's my only priority move on the team. Well, besides Fake Out and Rage Powder, I guess, technically. But whatever. Aqua Jet is awesome because I do think it comes up a lot where a Pokemon's barely alive. So being able to KO with Jet is awesome. So I ran it. And also, I'm Detect, brother. I never run Protect. Detect is awesome. And for the spread, I actually decided to go very fast. I found that being the faster Urshifu was really valuable, and I wanted to outspeed Smeargle, but I also need to outspeed -1 like Chien-Pao and Fluttermane, so he did need to be pretty fast as it was. But the only spread change I did make, this was the other spread change I made going from EUIC to this tournament, is I actually made him outspeed Smeargle. In the past, he was actually right here, which was 1 speed under Smeargle, and I just said Smeargle's not real, I don't care. But Smeargle's kind of real. I didn't lose to it, but I did play one at Seattle, so the speed change was really, really nice, being able to outspeed him. But yeah, that was the only change I made. I made him, you know, he does a lot of damage with Surging Strikes. This is just a jump point. It lives like a clap from like Lefty's Bolt or something. I think that's what it does. I don't really remember, but he's got a lot of special defense. And again, like he's very hard to kill with Terra Steel. His stats are incredible, dude. Base 100? 100? What are we doing, man? This Pokemon's so broken. He's so stupid. But yeah, Urshifu was obviously a very, very good Pokemon, and a Pokemon that treated me very well through the tournament. He's just very good with all the other guys. Then finally, we have Fluttermane. Specs Fluttermane is so good. It's one of my favorite Pokemon to use, like, of all of Scarlet and Violet. So sacrificing Fluttermane felt really bad, and I really wanted to keep it on the team at all costs. So Choice Specs Fluttermane is so good. Terra Fairy for that more damage. The moveset is simple. Moonblast. incredible move. One of the best moves in the game. They need to nerf this move. Dazzling Gleam, another amazing move. Shadow Ball, it's okay. It's a ghost type. And then Power Gem. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I wanted here. I considered like Icy Wind, Trick Room, whatever. Icy Wind was a big one I wanted to run, but I felt like being able to hit Ogerpon Fire for super effective damage was super valuable. And there's a lot of situations where I was like, hey, he's in Power Gem range. I'm going to press that. And so I think Power Gem's good. I don't know. Like, I never felt the reason. Like, I really wanted to change it because I wanted to make this team as good as possible. But I didn't have a reason to. So I decided to keep Power Gem. It felt really good in the tournament, out of the tournament. Whenever I used it, Power Gem was worth having. So as for the spread, this is the only spread that stayed from the stolen spreads. This is actually MDB's Fluttermane spread. And it's just good. It's just what I needed. So we'll start with the speed. It outspeeds Dozo at like +2 speed, right? Like if they're max Jolly Dozo, which is honestly pretty valuable in the Dozo matchup. I do bring this. I do think it's important to outspeed Dozo, so I didn't want to change that. And then the defense is just for like Qianpao Icicle Crash, I think, maybe. And then the 4 special defense and the rest in special attack. And honestly, so when I would play with this team, when I would play the mirror, because this was a public team, other people tried this team as well. When I'd play the fucking mirror, they always outsped me. And it seriously pissed me off so much. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play the mirror. The mirror's fake. No one's playing it like I am. It's whatever. I'm not going to play the mirror. And I never played the mirror. So it was all chill. Ultimately, they sped crept Michael's spread, but I didn't. I stayed true because I felt like I didn't want to give up a single point of special attack to win the mirror. I was like, I don't care. And if I play the mirror, I'll just have to figure something else out. There are other ways to play the mirror. It's totally fine. But I was just like, you know what? I'm being stubborn here, and I'm going to hold my line. I think Michael's spread was perfect. He just accidentally gave out the best spread, and I'm just going to keep using it. So that's the 6 Pokemon. That's the team. And let's hop into the match. Let's talk about what happened in the actual tournament. So round 1 of the tournament, I get hit with the Misty Terrain Charm Whimsicott with Tyranitar, which was honestly nightmare fuel for my Ursaluna. Like, seeing the Misty Terrain, I was like, you gotta be kidding me right now. But ultimately, when I played this matchup, they couldn't really deal with Cresselia paired with Ursaluna, with Terra Ghost. Like, the Como actually couldn't beat me. So in the first game, I just Terra Ghost Ursaluna, and I just kept Lunar Blessing. And he couldn't actually kill me with Iron Head, so I was able to win game 1 pretty easily. Game 2 went a little easier. I actually ended up critting Como with Earthquake after it already had Iron Defense, so I was able to slowly facade it to death, and honestly, I would have lost without the crit, but we take those. Against Iron Defense Como, we take those every single day. Round 2, we played another Iron Crown team. This time with Tornadus and Ogerpon, a little bit more of a normal Iron Crown team. And once again, Cresselia just went absolutely insane. Cresselia spamming Icy Wind, setting up layups for Ursaluna was just all I really needed to do. Also, again, it was Calm Mind Iron Crown, so my Incineroar kind of went nuts. In game 2, I did crit his Ogerpon Wellspring as well with U-Turn, and the game basically ended right there. He was way too low to do anything, and it was just over from the turn 1 crit. So we take those once again. Round 3 was also Psy Spam, once again with Calm Mind Iron Crown. This team was a little bit more annoying. He played really crazy. He ended up getting like 3 turns in a row in game 1, just consecutively reading me back to back to back. But my game plan in Iron Crown is pretty simple. I like to do Cresselia plus Incineroar with Ursaluna and Fluttermane in the back, and I think it's just really hard for them to deal with. I think the Sash or Shifu is really annoying, but if I'm able to break that Sash, Fluttermane can just sweep everything, right? The big thing about Iron Crown is that it does need to Terra to avoid dying to Ursaluna. So forcing the Terra is relatively easy. And then from there, I think usually Fluttermane can just clean it up. And Fluttermane usually can clean up everything else with the help of Incineroar. So this matchup isn't too bad. This guy did play like crazy style though and did almost get me. But I prevailed. Another Psy Spam win. Next up here, we had Andres Wilkerson. This team was insanity to play against. So I actually knew of this team because I had played it on ladder several times before the tournament, and the Swagger plus the Lumberry Sneasler is just honestly demon word, right? And so I had played against this team before, And honestly, game 1, he just swept me. He led Urshifu Smeargle, and there's not much I can do. He ended up getting a deck raid off, and Urshifu killed my entire team. I just literally couldn't play the game. He just swagged on me. Game 2, he tries the Sneasler Tornadus mode, and I correctly call that. I adapt, I play well. Cresselia ends up just spamming heals and just winning the game with Urshifu. And then game 3, I had a plan this time. I lead Cresselia plus Fluttermane into Urshifu plus Smeargle, and I called him out. I said, I know what you're going to do. You're going to fake out and you're going to sucker punch my Fluttermane with Terra Dark, thinking it covers all options. And so I switch in my Incineroar, because I let Cresselia Flutter into this. I switch in Incineroar, it intimidates the Urshifu. Fluttermane does not Terra. I one-shot the Urshifu. I do live with like 10 HP. Urshifu goes down, Smeargle wastes a fake out into Fluttermane, and from there the game is just kind of cooked. So we're able to take that game pretty convincingly, which I'm very happy about. But this matchup was so scary. And then, would you have guessed it? Another Iron Crown. Now, I actually think this matchup was unwinnable. I actually think, like, if my opponent plays correctly and perfectly every game, every turn, I cannot win. He led Indeedee, Chi-Yu, and I don't have an answer for it. I genuinely don't have an answer for Terra Fire, Chi-Yu next to Indeedee. I can't Dazzling Gleam, I can't really do anything. So game 1, I get swept. Game 2, I'm in a position where I have Cresselia and Urshifu win against the Indeedee Chi-Yu, and he goes for the Dark Pulse into Cresselia. All he had to do was Heat Wave. If he Heat Waved, I lost, but he doesn't, and he goes for Dark Pulse, so I end up EQ, KO both of these two nerds, and then it comes down to Sash Urshifu and Iron Crown against my Fluttermane and Ursaluna, and I correctly call him to attack with Iron Crown and to not Terra. So I Shadow Ball his Iron Crown, and it actually just picks up the KO, and I just win from there. And then in game 3, it got even more dicey, and ultimately it came down to this crazy turn where he had Iron Crown and Chi-Yu in against my Fluttermane and Urshifu, and I go for the Terra Fairy Moonblast into Iron Crown, predicting the Terra Water, predicting him to stay in with Chi-Yu, and he does just that. But I do think if he just kind of stayed true and just kind of pressed the spread moves, I think he probably would have destroyed me. But we prevailed once again. Now this matchup is nightmarish, dude. This team is so scary. So if you play that, I'm sorry, you probably will not win. Now at this point in the tournament, I'm 5-0. I'm feeling incredible. And I sit down to play against my 6th round opponent, which means if I win this one, I'm 6-0. And I get into day 2, which is obviously the goal, which is something that I want. And when I saw this matchup, I didn't love it. I don't think it's that great. I didn't actually have time to refine lines into it. This was the one matchup that I wish I could have played a little bit more. But going into it, I kind of knew what I had to do, and it was a little bit dicey. It was a little bit weird. Game 1 was really intense. It actually just came down to an Incineroar Ogerpon versus my Urshifu Incineroar, and I ended up winning because he took so much recoil from Wood Hammer, and he had committed Terra Grass that my Incineroar just beat them. Like, he had to Wood Hammer Urshifu, and he ended up fainting to Flare Blitz, and then I Flare Blitzed his Incineroar for the win. So it was a very crazy, chaotic first game, and then in game 2, I just spored him. I got a lot of sleep turns that just went my way. Like, there's just not much he could do. He ended up eating some sleeps, and I just put a lot of pressure onto his Ursaluna the entire time. I threatened a lot of knockoffs. He never brought it in safely, and he unfortunately just went to sleep a lot. So Amoonguss kind of went God mode, so we take those. And with that, I was 6-0 in the tournament, and I had I day 2'd the tournament. But obviously when you're 6-0, it feels good, but the tournament is not over by any means. By any means. You need to lock in, and you need to win one of the next 2 games. Obviously, if you go 8-0, that's awesome, but going 8-0 is really difficult. So my goal was to lock in 7-1. So next up here, I played a just regular balance, but like not really. There's no Calm Mind. There's also no Urshifu. And this is probably my hardest matchup of the entire tournament. Clear Amulet Rillaboom is just so difficult to deal with, especially paired with Ogerpon, Landorus, and Flutter. Like, usually there isn't Ogerpon and Landorus. So playing against both these guys sucked for my Amoonguss. And then this guy couldn't be intimidated. So it just felt awful, and I just really couldn't navigate. I had to play like an absolute psychopath. Game 1 was super close. Game 2, I barely won. And then in Game 3, it came down to Rillaboom versus Amoonguss in a 1v1. And unfortunately, he KO'd me with high horsepower. It felt like it was a roll, but I wasn't like, it was so close. It was so banger. It was honestly one of my favorite sets of the entire tournament. But unfortunately, I did fall, which meant I was now at 6-1, which means if I lose the next one, I'm about to go 6-2 into day 2, which is honestly just very, very brutal. And I really wanted to make sure I locked up the last one, so I needed to lock in for my last round of day 1. And for the last round of day 1, I had to play against Blood Moon Ursaluna with the Follow Me guys. This matchup was actually very, very scary because a lot of it just comes down to calling what your opponent's going to do, right? Like one of the games, he just led Ogreplun plus Blood Moon, and I led Incineroar into it, which is pretty good, but it's like, okay, what's he going to do? Is he going to Follow Me? Is he going to switch to Fergaraf? Is he going to Blood Moon? Like, it's very, very difficult to deal with. Or is he just going to switch to Fergaraf on the other slot and then hit me with a Wood Hammer on my Urshifu? It's just very annoying to deal with. It's a very difficult team to approach, but I did just end up getting the reads right. I set up some beautiful sequences involving my Amoonguss and my Incineroar to make sure I could get around those potential mind games, and I was able to take this one, but it was very, very stressful, very, very stressful, which means I went 7-1 going into day 2, which honestly, when I'm 7-1, every single time I'm 7-1, I make top cut, except for one time I dropped the ball. But outside of that one time at Toronto 2024, I always make top cut. So going into it, I was feeling very, very confident. I knew I still needed to go 3-1, which would be no easy feat, but I knew I had it in me going into day 2. So we go, we hang out, we get some food, we chill, and then we head back to the hotel to rest and prepare for day 2. Now going into day 2, this was my first opponent, Jeremy Boyd. And I was a little bit afraid, like a little bit, but I did feel like my balance matchup is just so, like, good. But the Ninetales does throw kind of a wrench into it. It makes it a little awkward. Game 1, I'm able to handle it pretty cleanly. I felt pretty solid into it. Game 2 actually ended up being really difficult with the Ninetales. And there's this whole sequence that I was, like, switching around Fluttermane, and I was like, oh my god, I'm just going to die. I was at half HP, and I needed Fluttermane to live a Thunderclap, and I'm like, well, we got game 3. But Fluttermane just lived the Thunderclap and ended up one-shotting Raging Bolt and finishing off the low HP Incineroar, which meant that I was winning my first match of the day. The team was just very weird, but it kind of had the similar pieces. Like, the Ninetales is, like, not that scary of a Pokemon, that I was like, you know, I think I can just stick with my usual guys and just kind of play well, and that's kind of what I did in this matchup. I think it could be pretty scary, but I think overall, like Flutter Shifu still does numbers here. So it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad of a matchup, and it was something I was pretty happy to play this round 1. I was like, I can handle this. This isn't crazy going into the first my first round of day 2. So I ended up taking this dub, which means I needed 2 more out of my 3 rounds to make it in to top cut. Now, going into this one, I was feeling incredible. Because at this point, I was like, I'm so happy to see stuff I know. Because I know Balance so well, and I just hadn't gotten to play against it in this tournament yet. I didn't expect Balance to be super prominent, but I still wanted to be able to have a good matchup. So when I saw this team, I was like, we're eating good today. And I honestly deployed my anti-balance tactics. I played really solid, and like, basically, I conditioned him game 1, and then game 2, I just completely called out every play he was going to make turns 1 through 2. I got a really good read on the situation, and he kind of crumbled after that. So it was just kind of a matchup that I know really well, and I had the mental edge on. So I was feeling really good at this point. And again, now at this point, I've won 2 rounds of day 2, which meant that I was, of course, 1 win away from making it to top cut of this tournament, which was something I really, really wanted. And next up, we had none other than Terran. Terran is a really, really good player. We've never played, I don't think we've played in tournament. I'm not really sure. But he's a very, very good player, very talented. And of course, we're playing a goddamn Ursaluna mirror. I don't really love Ursaluna mirrors. I do have some techs for it. I have my Ursaluna that's max speed. But looking at his team, I kind of felt like he was going to be max speed too. And I knew I'd have to play around that. So game 1, I play kind of crazy. I lead Instant Flutter. I fake out Shadow Ball his Amoonguss. He protects. It's basically fucking over from there. I was like, all right, that was horrible. Cut the fucking tape. Let's play game 2, right? Game 2, I end up calling him out. Turn 1, he leads Urshifu plus Tornadus. I lead Incineroar plus my Urshifu. And I fake out Searching Strikes his Tornadus. And he doesn't he doesn't switch, and he just gets flinched and dies to Surging Strikes. He lose on the spot, right? And I Terra Grassed, whatever, so I wouldn't die. And basically, I just win on turn 1. I ended up making a pretty crucial mistake where it was such a bad play that my opponent, not even out of disrespect, this wasn't disrespectful from him at all, but he just goes, what? Like his mind was so blown by how bad my play was that he audibly, I don't think he could control himself, and he just went, what? Like, my play was horrible. Basically, all I had to do was Spore plus knock off Urshifu, the slot that Urshifu was in, and he had Amoonguss Urshifu in, and I go for like a knockoff Spore into his Amoonguss or something crazy, and he gets his Ursaluna in for free, and the game ends up going on a little longer. I do end up winning, but it was a horrible, horrible play. And then in game 3, I decide it's time to whip out the Gambit. I don't really love Cresselia in this matchup. I don't really love Cresselia into the Ursaluna mirror. You would think, oh, Colin, he's an Amoonguss, you idiot. You just wake up your guys. It doesn't work like that because he usually knocks me off. So I was like, you know what? The way he's playing, I think Cresselia could go absolutely crazy. So I actually lead with a Amoonguss plus Fluttermane. And turn 1, I put on the pressure. I go for like a Spore, Terra Fairy. I go for a Spore into a Urshifu and a Terra Fairy Moonblast and a Tornadus, right? Because he leads the same thing. And he just double protects. I showed my hand. And I'm like, all right, keep the gas on. So then I go for a Moonblast Spore into his Urshifu. Because my thought process is, if I weaken Urshifu, whether it's sleeping or dead, I don't care, right? If I can weaken it, I'll win the game. So I end up going for that play. He switches to Amoonguss and goes for Bleakwind Storm. So now my Amoonguss takes half, and my Fluttermane takes like half, and I hit an Amoonguss with Spore and Moonblast. And you're like, dude, what are you doing? You're ass, right? Like, you're bad. You're going to lose. But that was all part of the fucking plan. So then next turn, I hit him with the double switch, right? Because I have Ursaluna, I have Amoonguss, Flutter. He has Amoonguss, Tornadus, right? And I'm like, okay, it's time. I switch in Ursaluna for Amoonguss. I switch in Cresselia, and I get burned. He double hits Bleakwind, but he spores Cresselia. I'm happy as a camper, baby. And then I just go for Earthquake Psychic. I KO both his Pokemon, because he is Terra Steel at this point. And from then on, Cresselia is actually able to just clutch up, because his last 2 Pokemon are Ursaluna and Urshifu. And all I have to do is Dazzling Gleam at any point. I just need to weaken Ursaluna so that it faints to Dazzling Gleam. And it just becomes I end up just staying in with Ursaluna because I know he's so afraid of Rocky Helmet that I just press Earthquake and he just loses the game there. So it was a very, very tricky game, and I kind of cheesed him with some crazy plays, but I did end up winning, which meant I was in day 2. I actually up paired into this too. I didn't want to play him at all, but I up paired. So, and an up pair is like not great. Like, it makes my seeding better, but who cares about seeding, right? Honestly, if you're first seed, you're just cursed. So I was like, I don't even want good seeding. I just want to make top cut. So it felt so good to beat him and to make it into top cut. I was so happy, especially doing it in kind of a crazy fashion. I was like, I'm playing crazy today, but I'm down for it. I'm playing well. So then obviously the next round is Kian. This matchup didn't matter. I counted before the tournament, or before the match, and I realized that we're gonna have a perfect top 16 cut. So this match just didn't matter at all. He definitely did not care at all, which is totally fine. He led Urshifu, what was it? He led Urshifu D-Knight with Pow, Amoonguss back every single time, and I was like, you're sandbagging, right? And so I was trying to figure it out, honestly. I actually was trying to take it a little bit seriously, and so I ended up figuring out that Cresselia plus Amoonguss seemed like a good lead into this. So I was just kind of messing around, trying to figure out how I was going to approach this matchup, because I did expect to play him in cut. But one thing that I thought was really nice was that we wouldn't play the first round of cut, because my seed was probably going to be pretty good. His seed was going to be good, because we're both guaranteed cut at this point. So I ended up losing game 1 on a flinch, and then games 2 and 3 I take pretty convincingly. Terra Steel Cresselia looks incredible, but I'm like, dude, come on, dude. You're not bringing in Sonora? Come on. So obviously we had nothing to play for, so I totally respect his sandbagging, but he definitely was sandbagging. So this match didn't really matter, but I took it pretty seriously, and honestly, I don't know how to feel about it, because I think the momentum helps. So I did win against a sandbagging opponent, but I think it's... I don't know what the optimal play is, right? Like, do you throw? Do you try? But I tried. I genuinely did try, and I won, so we'll take it. And I was like, you know what? Let's ride this momentum. Let's keep it going. Let's try to win this tournament. Let's go. And now I'm in top cut of the Seattle Regionals, feeling incredible. I'm so happy because I did it with my favorite Pokemon, which is, of course, Cresselia. And I did it with the team that I trusted in. But now it's go time, right? Because my goal is to win this fucking thing. So I sit down, and I didn't sit down. I ran over to the table. Not ran. I didn't run. But I walked over to the table, and I grabbed the sheet. I'm like, who am I playing, right? I'm like looking at the sheet, and then I see Cody Sharp. And I'm like, okay, who's Cody Sharp? And then I see this monstrosity. Whenever I see your Shifu Dark, it's genuinely nightmare fuel. Like, I just honestly hate this guy. Yeah, I did do a full breakdown of this battle on my YouTube. If you want to go check out a turn-by-turn analysis, I'm going to give you the brief synopsis. But if you want to see like an in-depth matchup of how I approach this one, check it out over there. But going into this one, I see your Shifu Dark, and I'm like, well, fuck that, dude. I hate her Shifu Dark, right? I have Cresselia. She doesn't like that guy. And then I see Fluttermane, Ogerpon, Tornadus, Lando. I'm like, okay, it's hyper offense, right? It's Cresselia time. Like, I'm gonna have to Terra, but it's Cresselia time. We'll set up Trick Room. Are you fucking me? Are you fucking me right now? Imprison Trick Room? What? Seriously? Are you for real? Are you fucking for real? So when I saw that, I knew this was gonna be such a dance. Game one kind of went to plan. Cresselia is still very, very good into the team, right? Icy Wind is strong. I didn't expect him to bring Torn game one, so I was like, you know what? If you imprison me, fuck you. You can imprison me. I don't care. I'll press Icy Wind, right? So I spammed Icy Wind. The game went pretty well. I ended up setting a beautiful like end game with Fluttermane and Mungus. You honestly, guys, you should go check out the video. It's a pretty good video. It's a pretty good breakdown. It's a fun set. But I finessed. I played Amoonguss perfectly with Fluttermane. I win game one. Game two, I'm like, okay. I'm feeling a little disrespectful. I'm feeling a little confident. Let's see the Incin or Shifu. He leads fucking Torn plus what was it, Torn Lando? I'm like, seriously, bro? I'm fucked. Like, I just kind of didn't think he'd bring Torn, but he brought Torn, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm gonna lose. I played kind of crazy. I ended up dodging a huge Bleak Wind, and then I'm able to take it from there. But it was a very, very scary game. I had to work really hard for this game to win. Like, very, very hard with the Pokemon that I brought. But we clutched up. Amoonguss dodged a Bleak Wind. We got a bunch of Spores. There wasn't much he could do once he went to Sleep Town, because he really doesn't have anything for sleep, right? This is really the only thing. So when I did look at the matchup, I was like, I think Amoonguss could go crazy mode. So let's rely on Amoonguss. Let's let Amoonguss do its thing. And I did dodge that Bleak Wind, though. And after I beat Cody, I was feeling really good, because the jump from points in top 16 to top 8 is like 120. It's huge. And if I knew if I could get top 8 at this regional, I would feel way less stressed about my Worlds Invite. So once I hit top 8, I was like, feels amazing. But then, this is the problem. Once you get top 8, now you're playing for the trophy. And the trophy means the world to me. I want the trophy so bad every time. Like, I want the physical manifestation of my success. Every time, dude. Every time. So, when I saw that I was in top 8, obviously I'm happy and I am excited. But I am like, let's lock in. Because we're playing a trophy game. And I haven't played a trophy match since LA. It's been a long time since I was in top 8. It's been about a year and a half. So I was like, dude, we need to play amazing, right? So then I look at my top 8 matchup, and I'm like, holy shit, it's Pow Night, right? This is Cresselia's like kingdom. Again, this match is also on YouTube. This one's pretty banger. If you want to check it out, go check it out. It's on YouTube. I'll link it down below. But when I saw this team, I was like, this is scary. But the truth is he can't bring all the guys. He can only bring 5 of the guys, or 4 of the guys, right? And really, he can only bring 5 of the guys because this guy sucks. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to play well. I'm gonna have to disable the D-Knight POW stuff. I'm gonna have to play well into them. They're gonna piss me off. Incin Amoonguss, I was like, man, I hope he doesn't recognize that Incin Amoonguss is the best lead into my team. He recognized it right away. He led Incin Amoonguss into me, and I'm like, oh fuck, right? But then I was like, you know what? This isn't too bad, because I led Flutter plus Incineroar, and I just make a double switch, because I'm like, you can only spore 1. You can only knock off spore 1. So I switch in my Ursaluna on the Incineroar slot, and I switch in my Cresselia on the Fluttermane spot, and he goes for knockoff spore and a Flutter, which he pops off. He's like, yes, I got you, right? But I was like, okay, that's chill. And then I played a really solid game, because I hadn't burned Ursaluna. I was like, you're gonna lose now. Like, this thing's so good. I got Ursaluna, and I don't care what happens to Cresselia. Cresselia can get knockoff spore. She's gonna sit there. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you over and over again. And I go for Facade into his Incineroar. and he actually partings off my Ursaluna, and I one-shot his Ogerpon, and the game basically ends there. Going into game 2, I am afraid of him doing the same thing, but I had a thought. I was like, you know what? I'm going to ego check him, right? I'm going to lead Incinemungus into Incinemungus, and I'm just going to play better. That's my plan. So I led Incinemungus into Incinemungus, and turn 1, I just go for a knockoff Spore into his Incineroar, and he parting shots into his POW, and he goes for Sludge Bomb. I don't even Terra, because I'm so confident. I'm like, I'm in his head. I know he's not going to Terra. And then I slow play it. I play it well. I end up getting like 4 crits in a row or something. So the game just like ends in the mid game. But I had a play where I just was like assuming that my Incineroar would outspeed his D-Knight because I am so speedy, and I didn't expect him to have any speed investments. So I was like, I know Dragonite's speed. So I went for a knockoff Gleam. I should have went for a Blitz. That was my only regret. But I ended up getting that knockoff Gleam. The Gleam crit, so his Dragonite just went down. But he's locked in Outrage anyways, so if he got the 50-50 on Outrage wrong, he auto-lost. But I think at that point, Flutter Mane was probably just going to clutch up. But either way, we take those crits, and I move on to top 4. And now I'm so ecstatic, right? Because I got the medal. But again, I do want to win this tournament. I want to perform as well as I can. So I look at the team, and I honestly, my heart sank, dude. There was this team, I was getting bullied by this team prior to the tournament. Terragrass or Shifu with Scarf in the rain is so brutal for me. It's so hard to play against. And again, if you want to check out this match, it's on YouTube. Go check it out. This matchup was just very difficult, and there was just so much stuff I had to prepare against, and I really didn't think he would bring Flutter at all. I kind of expected these 4-ish, or I've expected a Mungus every game, but I expected like these 4 or like these 4. I didn't expect the Flutter. He brought the Flutter both times, and game 1 I got a little excited. I'm not gonna lie, I ended up switching my Ursaluna in, and it just gets Surging Strikes. And it wasn't good. I lost my Ursaluna. I almost won. The game almost came back, but unfortunately it didn't. And then in game 2, I got kind of an unfortunate poison. And I also think that maybe I should have Terra'd my Cresselia somewhere in the game. He put on a lot of pressure with the Flutter Mane. The Flutter Mane was actually kind of a problem that I didn't fully expect. And I think the Flutter Mane set me back a little bit. And that's ultimately what kind of was my downfall. I actually, I think I messed up in which Pokemon I brought. I think I was supposed to go with Cresselia, Instant, Ursaluna, and Amoonguss. I think I was supposed to bring all 4 of them. I don't traditionally go that route, but I think that was the route that would have led me to victory. But unfortunately, I fell in top 4. I got the medal, I got the points, I got the money, but I'm still hungry for the win. Like, I still really, really want to win. I met so many fans. It was so awesome. Someone just gave me socks. It was crazy. But the support was unreal from you guys at the tournament. In the comments, too. You guys have been so nice. And I'm really happy because I kind of felt like if you look at these last couple tournaments that I did have, I was so close, right? Like this season, right? UIC, I went 5-3. Not very close. But I knew I was playing well. And I felt like I just pulled some bullshit matchups. And I was like, you know what? This isn't reflective of how good I am. This is just an unfortunate tournament. That's how this game is. This game can be cruel, and that's okay. But it's hard. It's hard to accept that, right? And at UIC, I was like, dude, maybe this is like maybe my team sucks. Maybe I suck, and maybe it's whatever, right? But I was like, no. I think this was just unfortunate. Because at Las Vegas, I played incredible. I top cut. I ended up losing to Carson St. Dennis, who ended up winning this tournament. He's a very good player. And it was a little bit unfortunate, but I was like, you know what? I'm so close. Like, I think I can win a tournament. Even at Milwaukee, I went 9-3. I got 39th there. I felt like I was so close, right? I was like, I'm so close to, like, doing this, right? Like, I know I can cut, and if I can get into cut, maybe I can win the whole thing. And even at NAIC this year, I day 2'd NAIC, and things just kind of went unfortunate. They got a little bit unlucky in day 2. I pulled some hard matchups. And then Milwaukee, right, when I started using Ursaluna, I ended up losing to a turtle team. And it was just really difficult, and I just was exhausted, and I just messed up. But every single time, I feel like I'm so close. And, like, I just need... I don't even need the stars to align, you know? I just need it to be, like, maybe just not unfortunate that day, right? Like, because I really think I'm so close to winning a big tournament. I genuinely think I'm playing at a level that is... like, I don't think I've been this good before Like, I think to be good in the modern era, you have to be exceptional. And I think I'm approaching. I'm very confident in how I'm playing. And I can't wait for Champions. I can't wait for more tournaments. Like, I'm itching to play. Like, I'm like, oh, should I go to Orlando? I'm not going to, but I feel a call to play. But I also know I need a break. I worked very hard for these tournaments. I put in a ton of practice, a ton of effort. But I like where I am as a player. And I think that the future is bright. I genuinely think that we're going to see a Battle Room dub soon. Like, I really do think so. And it's not out of cockiness or arrogance. Like, I mean, you can say it is. Like, I don't care what you guys think. Deep down, I know that I am playing really, really well. And so I'm very hopeful. And I'm very thankful for all the support. Just kind of rambling. I do love this team so much. I had so much fun, playing in this tournament. I had so much fun with this team. And I think, there's a lot of good lessons to be learned. And I think if one of the things you take away is play to your comfort. Have fun. Like, have fun playing what you like. Because I picked this team because I had fun playing it. I love playing Ursaluna. I'm confident in my Ursaluna capabilities. And I have fun. That's ultimately it, right? And I think there's a lot, like, I named my battle box Love and Joy because I was like, dude, you gotta have some love and you gotta have some joy when you play this game. Because I think some people are just so miserable, dude. They're like, I just want to win the regional, right? They just take it so serious, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think this game is about having fun, dude. It's a children's game where the monsters fight each other. And obviously, I do take the game very seriously. I'm not gonna like put you down for taking it seriously, but I think you gotta remember to have fun. And if there's anything you take away from this video, have fun. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. I just love this team, and I just wanted to talk about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed the team. Again, the paste is down below. Knock yourselves out. I want you to have fun with this team. I just want you to spam it on ladder and have a good time playing with it, because I think it is really, really fun. But I hope you guys learned something, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And we'll see you next time. Peace.